Hello, everyone. It's the next broadcast of 40 Minutes of Hope. I'm Stanislava Lukok, a naturopath and fertility coach and the founder of Natural Conception Awareness. I am thrilled to introduce to you my guest tonight, Christina Brogli. I am going to invite her in the studio. Hi, Christina.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi, I am saying your name right? Do they call you Chrissy as a nickname or?
Different people from different regions call me differently, but Christina or Chrissy is fine. Thank you.
Chrissy, okay. So let me introduce Chrissy to you. She is a transformational therapist. She has a personal difficult story walking towards her second child. It was, I imagine, the so-called secondary infertility because it was difficult to get to him. But it ended with a happy ending with the baby Samuel. Would you mind sharing your story with us?
Not at all. So it's a long story in terms of the time. I've got a daughter who is now 22 years old, healthy and beautiful, and she's doing fine. And she was born in Bulgaria, and I had my personal reasons to change my life at the time. And so I tried to stay in Bulgaria, but it was really hard without financial and emotional support, any kind of support from anybody. And at that time, I thought that if I'm making a big change, it could be really big. So I decided to move on the other side of the globe with my 9-year-old daughter and start a new life without knowing the country, without knowing anybody, without much resources. But we made it happen.
Exactly where are you in New Zealand?
In Auckland, the biggest city in New Zealand. We started in a smaller town, which was really good for my daughter to settle, especially because she didn't know any English. But the community here is great. They're supportive. She was enjoying school. In 6 months, she started speaking fluently English, even correcting me. And at some point, I met other Bulgarians, and funny enough, because in Bulgaria, I was married to a Hungarian, who is her father, and here in New Zealand, I met another Bulgarian. And after 3 years being together, we decided that we wanted a child together, as he had a daughter from a previous relationship as well. And so we started a new family, living together, trying for a child. It didn't take long to get pregnant, but because I knew I have beta thalassemia minor, which is a disorder on the blood cells, and he knew that he has the same, which is a damage in one of the chromosomes. So I wanted to have amniocentesis almost immediately when I signed with a midwife. But because she was a bit reluctant in terms of having my tests, blood tests, which showed that everything is fine. I was physically fine, doing well. and she thought that there was no problem, but I knew the risks. And the chances in such case, the baby to be healthy are 25, because you're matching 2 chromosomes of each partner and 1 of each is damaged. 50% are the chances the baby to be a carrier of one of the damaged chromosomes, and 25% to be you with beta thalassemia major. And because knowing these risks, I wanted to know the results of a genetic test, and I was pushing, and at the end, the midwife just gave up and called the genetic clinic. And after the amniocentesis they did, it appeared that the baby is with major thalassemia. And at first I was shocked, because I thought that 25% is not big percentage in terms of compared to 75 to be healthy, but apparently 25 is a big percentage in these cases. And after many consultations, I knew what are the consequences, but we did a lot of consultations anyway, and our doctor said that those babies don't develop well physically. With the mind they're fine, but physically they don't develop. Most of them can conceive and have babies. They don't grow much in terms of lifespan. They live about 25-30 years. Now it's more help. They can go and push further to 40, but can't really have a fulfilled life. And usually kids get bullied at school. And the main thing was that the thalassemia appears after 6 months of the birth, and since then they'll need a blood transfusion every month to the rest of their life. And for me that was huge, like giving life to human being that will suffer its whole life was a huge thing for me. And after much consideration, I decided that I can't do this to somebody to suffer. And it was the hardest decision in my life, but I decided that it's better to terminate the pregnancy and try again in a better way. And so we terminated the pregnancy, which was in 22nd week. And the baby was already developed, and yeah, was hard time, but I made it. Again, so friendly advices to not see the baby and just forget about our experience. I went with what I felt right for me, and because I wasn't letting go that baby for any other reason but because I loved it so much that I didn't want to suffer, I cuddled her. It was a girl. I talked to her a lot, and that gave me kind of not peace, but helped with the healing. And so it took time to grieve and to get over it, which it doesn't work like completely to go over, but life must go on, as they say. And then the genetic clinic offered us IVF cycles with prenatal genetic diagnostic. And because I was under 40 at that time, the government is paying here for 2 cycles. And we thought that if that's the case, then we can try. Unfortunately, in the 2 cycles, the tests, the testing, the result of the testings were not good. So there was no implantation, and so we decided that at the 2nd cycle I was already 41.
Did you do a PGD screening of the embryos? Did you do genetic testing?
Biopsy of the embryos and test them actually in Australia, because in New Zealand we don't have the facilities.
Oh gosh, so they had to send them to Australia?
Yeah, they freeze the embryos and the biopsy, they send them over Australia, and it took like 2 weeks for the testing with the travel. It was like a month after the egg extraction. But also because it was paid by government, the timing was really long from each cycle, each procedure. But I was grateful anyway, because that was giving me a chance, which didn't happen. But everything was good. We kind of settled and decided that it wasn't meant to happen, and waited one day to have grandchildren from our daughters. But yeah, well, the universe works differently and sometimes give you what you want later, unexpectedly. I even got a letter from the doctor saying that it was really unlikely to get naturally pregnant at 41. After 2 IVF cycles, probably I don't have much eggs left. And with all the risks of thalassemia and the over 40s, was kind of unlikely. They even some of them offered egg donor eggs and trying different ways, but we thought that we wanted a child between us, and if it's not meant to happen, we still have a child each, so it won't be that big problem. And a month later of that letter I received, I found out that I'm pregnant. And the first emotion was excitement, as wasn't expected. But then the old fear of having another pregnancy like the previous was back, and it took me a while to make my mind what I wanted and how to do it. But I contacted directly the genetic clinic, and they offered great support. They did the earliest testing possible of the embryo. And
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said with that advanced failed pregnancy, I mean, where there were genetic malformations, that you did the amnio at 22 weeks. How early enough you could have done the test? Why? Like, I guess they didn't want you to do the test. You were pushing for it, but they didn't offer the test. Like, could you have done it earlier?
Yes. So the amniocentesis could be done between 16 and 18 weeks of pregnancy. And we did it almost at the end of the 18th week. And because it takes 2 weeks to get the result, I was already 22 when I made the decision, and they went to the procedure of booking me for induced birth.
But do you know if there is a detailed genetic screening at 10 weeks of pregnancy? It's called harmony test. Do you know if that one catches that? Would you have done it? Would you have caught that disorder, or it's just CVS that you could do before the amnio?
So for the second time when I got pregnant, I was researching what I can do as early as possible. And the option that from the genetic clinic offered me was CVS between 10 and 12 weeks. Okay. And I did that. Maybe I think in America they do other tests, but in New Zealand was the CVS one. There is
in the US there is a 10 weeks, the so-called harmony test, but I don't think it will catch thalassemia. I think it tests for many other genetic disorders, but I don't think I've seen thalassemia.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it, but
so sorry to interrupt. Like, go on. What happened with the good pregnancy, with Samuel's pregnancy?
Yeah. So from the test, they called me and said that the first day they told me that the baby inherited only my genetic disorder, which make the baby a carrier as me, which is not a big deal. The symptoms are just like anemia with low blood pressure and nothing major.
Is he anemic now?
No. It comes later in life. He's full of energy, running, and sometimes hard to catch up. He's completely healthy. And the next day they called me for the other tests for the over 40s risks, and everything was fine. All results are good, and also they told me the gender, as with the genetic testing they could do that, and we were happy, very happy to have a boy. And the pregnancy was fine, everything was fine. I did a hypnobirthing course because I wanted really good experience this time. My first pregnancy with my daughter was good, but the cesarean, which I had to go through, was really traumatic, and I didn't want to get there. I wanted something better this time. So with the hypnobirthing course, I learned that we have to trust our body. We are designed as women to carry and give birth of children, and whatever happens is all natural, and we just have to trust our body and the baby that they know what to do and how to do it. I learned to relax, to let go of worries and fears, and because everything was going well, it was a very good delivery and a very good positive story for me.
So it's healing on many levels. Healing from the traumatic cesarean and healing from the previous unsuccessful pregnancy. Thanks for your words on trusting the female body, that it can give birth. It is miraculously made that way, because there are so many women that have fear of giving birth. So it's very encouraging to hear what you're saying. So you had this traumatic pregnancy loss. at an advanced stage, and you have 2 failed IVFs, 2 unsuccessful IVF cycles. How did you manage to recover after these losses? I think you said you lost hope at one point, you know. Did you manage to pick yourself up from where you were there on the bottom, and how did you do that?
Wasn't easy, because the whole decision to end life was really hard, and knowing and feeling it inside of me, and was really hard to make that decision, and then to go through the process of basically killing my baby. But I thought that it's for a good reason at that time, because I'm quite sensitive, and I knew that it will be extremely hard for me to see a baby, a little child suffering, and without much support, because the doctor said that I will need family support to do the blood transfusions, even going to school to support every physical activity. And I don't have anybody here to support me. Also, when I was induced for the birth, at one of the times they forgot to give me the pill, and that prolonged the delivery for more than 24 hours, which was really painful. And that pain was on top of my whole mental and emotional pain. But we're strong people, humans, and especially women, and I went through all that. And I had 2 weeks leave from my work, which I spent mainly in bed crying. And then I had more pain, which we got checked, and apparently I had some tissues left in my womb, and they cleaned it up, but it kind of was, I wanted so much that baby that I wasn't letting go everything out of my body physically. And then I had to stay more at home, even though I thought that would be good to go back to work and occupy my mind with work. Physically, I wasn't fit, so I stayed at home. And I remember that at one point I picked myself up and started reading books instead of just going in a cycle of my thoughts and feelings. And one of the books was one of your sisters, Madeleine Algafari, which I don't remember the title now, but it had a story about a girl that her mom wasn't tuning onto her feelings and emotions, and she had to suppress all feelings, emotions that were not allowed to express. And I guess your sister then, as a therapist, helped her overcome that by going through all feelings, especially the negative ones. And I understood that really helps when you go through all the pain or all the emotions. You become more aware what's happening in your body, in your mind, and that helped me in one one point getting peace with myself. In the decision I made, I talked a lot to that baby, asking for forgiveness and saying that I love her, and I was grateful for the experience, even though it wasn't the best one. But even for a little bit being in my life had its purpose. I learned a lot, mainly that even if there is a small percentage risk, it's better to check it in as early as possible and take actions then, instead of ignoring or not paying attention and just believing sillily that somehow it will work for better. It's better to do whatever is possible to minimize risks, to learn as much as possible what you could to be a better conscious person and conscious parent as well. And also, I think really helped me that I cuddled the baby instead of not seeing it, as many people told me, because that way I, in a way, showed her my love to her. So yeah, I think those things helped me get over and recover and become a better person, knowing more about people, babies, pregnancy.
You just guessed my next question was going to be about any lessons learned on your fertility journey. Do you think there was a purpose in this season of waiting? What did you learn apart from the need of being proactive and investigating as soon as possible if there is any chance for risk? But do you think there was a purpose in going through what you went through and becoming a mother at the time when you became a mother a second time?
Definitely there is a reason for everything, I believe, and even though we don't see it straight away, it comes later for sure. And through the whole experience, I learned so much. I did research. I read not only about the process of pregnancy and conception and giving birth, but also about being more aware as a person of who I am and what I want and how to have a better life. I learned that I had to and still have to trust myself and my intuition instead of listening only to advices. And through that period of waiting to get to my happy end and my miracle, yes, all babies are miracles, but that one is special for me. And that waiting taught me so much that now I want to give it to other people, to share my knowledge, to help other people get knowledge, understanding, and awareness of their journey, of what they're experiencing, and that everything is possible even when it's not expected. And the main thing for me personally I learned is to relax. to let go of fear, it's not helping. Because just before I got pregnant with my baby, I had a really bad time in the office. I had a bad manager who is bullying me, and I was trying to find out what I wanted to do as work and how to fit in one organization that was a dream for me to work for. And at that time, I found hypnotic recordings, which I listened to relax my mind. And that helped also to relax my body. And that's when the miracle happened with getting pregnant, I guess.
I was gonna
so
ask
that
you.
was one of the big things for me.
I was gonna ask you. Apart from apparently you did some hypnosis and you were worked on your psychological and emotional state of mind. Did you change any other lifestyle habits after the lost pregnancy and after the failed IVFs?
I was making small changes, but I considered my lifestyle quite healthy in terms of eating balanced meals, exercising, not doing much mental work, which I started with reading a lot and doing meditation. Even hypnosis, some say it's a meditation, deep meditation or guided meditation. It's the same. You get into the same stage of awareness. Mainly I did the changes when I was pregnant with my boy, because with all I've learned, I wanted to give him all the possible positive opportunities to be healthy. So I consider in New Zealand the food is in terms of vegetables mainly and meat quite clean and good. All beef are grass-fed, and lamb, you can see the sheep grazing happily on the hills around, even in big cities.
Makes
which
me
is
want to
strange
go
for
to New
me.
Zealand. I've always
Yeah.
wanted to go to New Zealand. I would love to see that.
You're more than welcome. Yeah, I think a lot of the production is clean and good. But even though I started moving more to organic whenever possible, buying more from local markets instead of big shops, changing stuff in the kitchen, more healthy options. And I found out also that it's not that much about a lot of intensive exercise. It's just to be on the move, walking, being out in the nature instead of in the gym, enjoying nature as much as possible. And because New Zealand is an island, 3 islands, but anyway, it's surrounded by water and we have beautiful beaches in every corner almost. In every suburb there is a park that you can enjoy, and there are so many options when you open yourself and look for opportunities to do more sustainable choices and connect to nature better. So yeah, a lot of changes happened, not major, but what during my pregnancy.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit more about what you do. What is RTT, and how does this method help with various issues people might have, and especially how does it help people struggling with infertility?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I wasn't happy at my job, and the pregnancy came as a saving grace for me, where I stopped letting the negativity come into my mind. And during my pregnancy and maternity leave, I was looking for opportunities to change my career and do more of what I wanted, and it was to help other people. And with the hypnobirthing course, I thought that that's a great way. It's actually the natural, normal way. It should be normal of how to give birth, but it wasn't known for many people, and it's definitely not a practice in the medical area. In New Zealand, they started practicing more hypnobirthing in hospitals. And even when I did my list of preferences of what I wanted to happen during the birth, they considered most of it. Even in the theater, because again, it happened to be cesarean because of a low placenta laying. My music was on the theater, and my baby was welcomed with the music. It was familiar with listening during the pregnancy, and it was a really good experience. So I thought that I may just become a practitioner of hypnobirthing and help other women have a good and positive experience of giving birth. But that kind of was sitting in the air for a long time. And last year, especially when we were under lockdown, I started doing courses, some of them for free. And you know how it works. When you start looking, it starts coming up and showing up. So I found the RTT, and especially Marisa Peer as its founder. And thought, why not? I signed for that course, and it was including hypnobirthing, but was much more. And at that point, I wasn't sure that one course will help me become a practitioner, but I just wanted to learn more and more how the mind works and how I can help other people.
And RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's really rapid in terms of in one session you can get free from pain or fears. It works with a lot of things like addictions, anxiety, eating disorders, self-esteem, confidence, and the main topic for me, the fertility issues or infertility. And on your question, how it helps, especially in cases where the medicine can't tell what's the issue, like couples are trying for a long time to get pregnant, and physically there's no issue, but something is not working, obviously. RTT helps with finding the root and the cause of the issue, which is usually a block. And I can give some examples of such blocks. Mainly it comes all all blocks comes from the childhood, in the last trimester of pregnancy till about 7-8 years old children. And that's the period where we get our programs learned by the environment, the parents, school, friends, all relatives, and the life experience that happens at that time. And in many cases, for example, when the mother is sharing freely in front of a little child stories about a traumatic birth and how hard it is or was, and how women sometimes are meant to suffer, especially in Bulgaria. That's really common, I think. And then the child unconsciously creates a belief that being a woman, being a mother, and giving birth is so hard that the mind says, if it's that painful, I won't let you go there, because the work, how the mind works is getting you away from pain and close to pleasure. So when you think that something is painful, it's try to protect you. And that's how little girl can block herself of becoming a mother, just by installing that fear and negative belief about birth and pregnancy and motherhood. And with the session, we use regression to go back to that belief, and in many times we go back to memory that we don't remember, but everything is stored in the subconscious mind, and the mind can work under hypnosis to find out where it's and what is the problem. Then we do reframing. Yeah.
This method uses works both with the subconscious and the conscious level. Is that right?
It works on a subconscious level first.
Okay.
In the session, we mainly work on subconscious level, but before and after the session, we and I especially provide coaching, let's say, of if necessary, to explain things and to support further. After we reframe the negative belief or clear the block, we provide a transformation to install positive beliefs, to cheer up a little bit or more if needed. And after the session, we give a special personal recording of the positive transformation for the client to listen for at least 21 days, because that long takes the mind to reprogram itself. And especially with fertility, it's very important to turn the fear into excitement and make it, and I think you mentioned many times that it's very important, instead of fearing what will happen, and if that happens like something negative, to turn it to all the opposite and all the positives, what
The
is
glass
possible
is half
in a
full.
Yeah.
Half full instead of half empty.
Yeah, depends on which part you're focusing on.
Yeah.
To focus on the good part, and it's really important to be excited, to higher your vibrations, and open yourself to receiving, because the fear is blocking. And when you eliminate resistance, you let allowing come, and that's how good things start to happen. When you replace fear with excitement, and the line between those two is very thin. So it's very, very easy when you consciously know and make a choice to choose excitement instead of fear, instead of thinking, will it happen this time? Or when you get pregnant and start worrying how long it will take, and would you miscarriage this time, or what happened in a negative way, you start thinking positively and visualizing good things, like visualizing having a baby, cuddling a baby, having a happy and healthy pregnancy, and all these positive affirmations that you are doing great and you can do it because you are designed to be. That's your nature as a woman. And turning all the negativity into positivity helps in many cases succeed, but it's a personal work. Like as a practitioner, I can't guarantee that it will happen without the client's involvement, because I'm just guiding, advising and helping with whatever I can. But the main job is need to be done by the client.
But are you saying that sometimes one session can be enough? Like one session?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if there's no other issues, one session is usually enough per issue. But for example, if a couple is trying to conceive, but one of the partners have anxiety or addiction or low self-esteem and some negative beliefs, that needs to be cleaned first and then work on fertility, because when you're in a better state of mind and body, it's much easier to happen.
Thank you, Chrissy. Our time is running out, so I want to ask you my last question. Any final words of wisdom? What's your message to all the men, women, and couples struggling with infertility?
Yeah, the main thing for me is trust yourself, trust your body, love yourself. That's the main thing. When you accept yourself for who you are and love it because you deserve it, you can start receiving what you want. And I think love is in everything. Like it will work. All babies, all humans need love to feel safe, secure, and fulfilled in life. And never give up. There is always a way. Just look for it. Stop focusing on the closed door of whatever happened in your life experience, and turn around and see how many other doors are open and provide opportunities for something. And even if it's not meant to happen the way you want it, you'll find another way to be happy and fulfilled in your life. I truly believe that we don't need to do anything special to deserve what we want. And it's like the sunlight, because you haven't done your course, or you haven't done this training, or you haven't done anything especially good, the sun will still keep shining over you. So just accept yourself, accept your faults. We all do mistakes, but the main thing is to learn from them, not to repeat them. And yeah, keep the hope, because it's a big thing and it helps find the solution. There is always a solution, I'm sure.
I can't think of a more beautiful ending of our 50 and more minutes of hope. And hopefully they are going to grow exponentially for the people that watch this broadcast. How can people get in touch with you?
Because I'm now leaving my job, I'm resigning and starting my practice. My website is under development, but the main thing is through email or Facebook. You can find me by my name, and my email is Christina, but without the C, HRISTINA .brogli@gmail.com.
Okay.
And I'll
Or
be
send her a message on
happy to
Facebook.
contact with any people who may need help. And I'll be happy to work with you as well.
I will be happy to. Thank you so much for this sunshine that you brought to the people watching. I hope I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you again, most probably. Beautiful ending. Thank you, Christina, and I hope everybody takes a little piece of positivity from this conversation. Bye now.
Thank you, Sonia. Bye.